to trace the effects produced by their rightful development. To do this, as before stated, the subject will be divided into the following divisions. 1. The nature of the centers. 2. The centers and the rays. 3. The centers and Kundalini. 4. The centers and the senses. 5. The centers and initiation. As can be seen from the above tabulation, the subject is not only vast but abstruse. This is principally owing to the fact that until the race is normally clairvoyant, it is not in a position to verify what is said, and has to accept the statements of those who profess to know. Later, when man can see and prove for himself, it will be possible to check up these statements. The time is not yet, except for the few. 1. The nature of the centers. Let us take the first point. I wish to enumerate the centers to be dealt with in this treatise, keeping the enumeration very closely to that laid down earlier, and dealing not with all the centers, but simply with those closely concerned with man's fivefold evolution. As before stated, man, at the close of his long pilgrimage, will have passed through the 5 kingdoms of nature on his way back to his source. 1. The mineral kingdom. 2. The vegetable kingdom. 3. The animal kingdom. 4. The human kingdom. 5. The superhuman, or the spiritual kingdom, and will have developed full consciousness on the 5 planes. 1. The physical plane. 2. The emotional or astral plane. 3. The mental plane. 4. The intuitional, or the buddhic plane. 5. The spiritual, atmic, or nirvanic plane, by means of the 5 senses, and their correspondences on all the 5 planes. 1. Hearing. 2. Touch. 3. Sight. 4. Taste. 5. Smell. By the time the 5th round is reached, 3/5 of the human family will have attained this point, and will have their 5 senses fully functioning on the 3 planes in the 3 worlds, leaving the 2 other planes to be subjugated during the remaining 2 rounds. I would here point out a fact that is little realized, that in this 5-fold evolution of man and in this solar system, the 2 remaining rounds in any planetary cycle, and the 6th and 7th root races in those cycles are always synthetic. Their function is to gather up and synthesize that which has been achieved in the earlier 5. For instance, in this root race, the 6th and 7th sub-races will synthesize and blend that which the earlier 5 have wrought out. The analogy lies in the fact that in this solar system the 2 higher planes, the logoic and the monadic, are synthetic. One is the synthesizing plane for the logos from whence he abstracts the essence in manifestation. The other for the monad, from whence the monad abstracts and garners the fruits of objectivity. We will therefore only concern ourselves here with those centers which relate to the evolution of the subtler bodies, the evolution of the psyche, and not with those connected with the evolution and propagation of the dense physical body. These centers are 5 in number. 1. That at the base of the spine, the only one dealt with that has a physical effect. 2. That situated at the solar plexus, the most important one in the body from the standpoint of the astral plane. 3. That found at the throat, the most important from the standpoint of the mental plane. 4. That in the region of the heart, which has an occult link with the buddhic plane. 5. That above the top of the head, which is the crown, and has relation with the atmic plane. We do not deal with the lower centers of generation, nor with the spleen which has a direct connection with the etheric, and is the transmitter of prana. They have been dealt with earlier. The centers in the human being deal fundamentally with the fire aspect in man, or with his divine spirit. They are definitely connected with the monad, with the will aspect, with immortality, with existence, with the will to live, and with the inherent powers of spirit. They are not connected with objectivity and manifestation, but with force, or the powers of the divine life. The correspondence in the macrocosm can be found in the force which manipulates the cosmic nebulae, and which by its whirling rotary motion eventually builds them into planets, or spheroidal bodies. These planets are each of them an expression of the will to live of some cosmic entity, and the force that swirled, that rotated, that built, that solidified, and that continues to hold in form coherent, is the force of some cosmic being. This force originates on cosmic mental levels, from certain great foci there, descends to the cosmic astral, forming corresponding cosmic focal points, and on the fourth cosmic etheric level, the Buddhic plane of our solar system, finds its outlet in certain great centers. These centers are again reflected, or reproduced in the three worlds of human endeavor. The heavenly men, therefore, have centers on three solar planes, a fact to be remembered. A. On the monadic plane, the plane of the seven rays. B. On the Buddhic plane, where the masters and their disciples form the 49 centers in the bodies of the seven heavenly men. C. On the fourth etheric physical plane, where the sacred planets, the dense bodies in etheric matter of the heavenly men, are to be found. Here again we can trace the microcosmic correspondence. In the human being, the centers are found on the mental plane from which originates the impulse for physical plane existence, or the will to incarnate. From thence they can be traced to the astral level, and eventually to the etheric levels, to the fourth ether, where they practically go through the same evolution that the planetary centers went through, and are instrumental in bringing about objectivity, being the four centers. The centers are formed entirely of streams of force, pouring down from the ego, who transmits it from the monad. In this we have the secret of the gradual vibratory quickening of the centers, as the ego first comes into control, or activity, and later, after initiation, the monad, thus bringing about changes and increased vitality within these spheres of fire or of pure life force. The centers, therefore, when functioning properly, form the body of fire, which eventually is all that is left, first to man in the three worlds, and later to the monad. This body of fire is the body incorruptible, 74-72, or indestructible, spoken of by St. Paul, and is the product of evolution, of the perfect blending of the three fires, which ultimately destroy the form. When the form is destroyed, there is left this intangible spiritual body of fire, one pure flame, distinguished by seven brilliant centers of intenser burning. This electric fire is the result of the bringing together of the two poles and demonstrates at the moment of complete at one ment the occult truth of the words, "Our God is a consuming fire." 75-73. Three of these centers are called major centers, as they embody the three aspects of the threefold monad: will, love and intelligence. 1. The head center. The monad. Will or power. 2. The heart center. The ego. Love and wisdom. 3. The throat center. The personality. Activity or intelligence. The other two centers have to do primarily with the etheric body, and with the astral plane. The throat center synthesizes the entire personality life, and is definitely connected with the mental plane, the three planes, and the two higher planes, and the three centers with the two other centers, the heart and head. Yet, we must not forget that the center at the base of the spine is also a synthesizer, as would normally be expected, if it is recognized that the lowest plane of all manifestation is the point of deepest reflection. This lowest center, by synthesizing the fire of Kundalini and the pranic fires, eventually blends and merges with the fire of mind, and later with the fire of spirit, producing thus consummation. We must disabuse our minds of the idea that these centers are physical things. They are whirlpools of force that swirl etheric, astral and mental matter into activity of some kind. Because the action is rotary, the result produced in matter is a circular effect that can be seen by the clairvoyant as fiery wheels situated. 1. In the region of the spine, the lowest part. 2. Between the ribs, just below the diaphragm. 3. In the region of the left breast. 4. In the center of the throat. 5. Just above the top of the head. I would like to describe these centers in greater detail, dealing with them as seen in etheric matter, and basing what I say upon a similar statement by Mr. C. W. Leadbeater in Inner Life, Vol. 1, page 447-460. We will note the colors and petals. 1. The base of the spine, 4 petals. These petals are in the shape of a cross, and radiate with orange fire. 2. The solar plexus, 10 petals rosy color with a mixture of green. 3. The heart center, 12 petals glowing golden. 4. The throat center, 16 petals of a silvery blue, with blue predominating. 5. The head center in its twofold divisions. A. Between the eyebrows, consisting of 96 petals, one half of the lotus being rose and yellow, and the other half blue and purple. B. The very top of the head. A center consisting of 12 major petals of white and gold, and 960 secondary petals arranged around the central 12. This makes a total of 1,068 petals in the 2 head centers, making the 1 center, or 356 triplicities. All these figures have an occult significance. Just as the monad is the sum total of all the 3 aspects, and of the 7 principles of man, so is the head center a replica of this, and has within its sphere of influence 7 other centers with itself for synthesis. These 7 centers are likewise divided into the 3 major and the 4 minor centers, with their union and consummation seen in the gorgeous center surmounting and enveloping them all. There are also 3 physical centers, called A. The alta major center, B. The pineal gland, C. The pituitary body, with 4 lesser centers. These 4 lesser centers are blended in that center, which we call the alta major center and need not concern us. I would here also point out that there is a close connection. A. Between the alta major center and the throat center. B. Between the heart center and the pituitary body. C. Between the head center and the pineal gland. It would repay the student to contemplate the interesting succession of triangles that are to be found, and the way in which they must be linked by the progression of the fire before that fire can perfectly vivify them, and thence pass on to other transmutations. We might enumerate some of these triangles, bearing always in mind that according to the ray so will proceed the geometric rising of the fire, and according to the ray so will the points be touched in ordered sequence. Herein lies one of the secrets of initiation, and herein is found some of the dangers entailed in a too quick publication